Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going to deep dive into something that's got me really excited.
Yeah.
It's the combo of Gemini, this really cutting-edge AI, with Google Colab,
Right?
that, data scientists' playground.
Yeah.
So imagine like you're wrestling with this huge data set, maybe about global sea levels rising,
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out which coastal areas are like most at risk.
Yeah.
So picture this, right? You fire up Colab.
Right.
And with Gemini's help, you're not just like coding, you're actually having a conversation with your data.
Oh, wow.
You can like ask Gemini to pinpoint those high-risk zones.
Yeah.
And boom, it just whips up this interactive heat map right there in Colab.
Oh, wow.
Highlighting the regions in danger, That's the kind of power we're talking about.
So what's really groundbreaking is how Gemini goes like beyond just spitting out code.
Yeah.
It's like having a partner who understands like the why behind your analysis.
Right.
It can look at your existing code, your comments, even the, research papers you've been poring over,
Oh, wow.
and grasp the context of your project.
Yeah.
So it's not just like writing code, it's writing the right code.
Yeah.
A code that fits seamlessly into your workflow.
That's mind-blowing. So it's not just about making things faster.
Right.
It's about making them, like, smarter.
Exactly. Think about, you have these huge collaborative projects
Yeah.
where everyone's got their own coding style. It can be a nightmare, trying to decipher someone else's code.
Right, for sure.
Gemini can adapt to different styles, ensuring that everyone's on the same page, right?
Right.
It's like having a universal translator for code.
So no more debates about tabs versus spaces. Well,
I can finally get my teammates to see the light.
let's not get ahead of ourselves.
That's
Right.
not fair.
Well, while consistency is fantastic, you also want to make sure you're not stifling creativity.
Different coding styles can sometimes reflect different ways of thinking about a problem.
Okay.
That's something to keep in mind.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance
Yeah,
between efficiency and creative freedom.
absolutely. Now, let's shift gears and talk about data visualization.
Okay.
This is where things get really exciting.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to interact with your data in a way that truly comes alive.
Uh-huh.
We're not just talking about static charts and graphs here.
Right.
Gemini can help you create immersive 3D visualizations, interactive maps, and dashboards
Wow.
that respond to your every query.
So it's like stepping inside your data
Yeah.
instead of just looking at it on a screen.
Precisely.
Okay.
Think about the implications for storytelling, right?
Yeah.
Instead of presenting a dry deck of slides, you could create a captivating visual narrative that pulls your audience in
Yeah,
and
yeah.
helps them grasp complex concepts in a whole new way.
Yeah, that's incredible. It sounds like Gemini is taking data analysis
Right.
from black and white to full-blown Technicolor.
Yes.
But what about, those of us who are just dipping our toes into the world of machine learning?
Yeah.
I'll admit, it can be, a bit intimidating.
So that's where Gemini's automation capabilities come in.
Okay.
Tasks like feature selection and model evaluation, which can be quite complex, can be handled by Gemini,
Yeah.
freeing you up to focus on understanding the results
Right.
and what they mean for your research.
So it's like having a super smart assistant
Yeah,
who handles all the technical heavy lifting so you can focus on the big picture.
exactly.
That sounds almost too good to be true.
Well, I mean, it's
Are there any limitations?
Yeah.
What kind of models can it handle?
while Gemini is incredibly powerful,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that it's still a tool.
Right.
It can automate tasks and provide insights,
Right.
but ultimately, human expertise is crucial for interpreting those insights
Yeah.
and making, informed decisions.
Sure.
As for the types of models, Gemini is constantly learning and evolving.
Okay.
So its capabilities are expanding all the time.
That's reassuring. It's
Yeah.
easy to get swept up in the hype,
Yeah.
but it's important to remember that AI is a tool, not a magic wand. It's up to us to use it wisely.
for sure.
Speaking of which, I've been reading about the possibility of Gemini actually generating entire machine learning models
Oh, wow.
based on a user's description. Is that really on the horizon?
It's definitely a fascinating area of research,
Yeah.
and the potential is enormous.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine being able to simply describe the problem you're trying to solve
Right.
and have Gemini build a custom machine learning model tailored to your specific needs
Yeah.
that could truly democratize access to AI
Right.
and empower individuals and organizations who might not have the resources for a dedicated data science team.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
If that becomes a reality, it could open up a whole new world of possibilities.
It certainly could. It's an exciting time to be working in this field, that's for sure.
For sure.
But with all these advancements,
Yeah.
we need to be mindful of the bigger picture
Yeah.
and ensure we're using these powerful tools responsibly.
You're right. It's not just about what we can do, but what we should do.
Exactly.
And speaking of responsible use, we need to talk about the potential implications of having such a powerful AI at our fingertips.
You bring up an important point. Yeah, we need to be careful about over-reliance on AI.
Yeah.
And ensure that human judgment remains at the heart of the decision-making process.
Right.
But let's dive into that a bit more
Okay.
after a quick break.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back.
All right. All right, so we've talked about all these amazing possibilities, but now let's get real for a second.
Yeah.
With all this power comes responsibility, right?
Oh, for sure.
What are some of the potential downsides we need to be aware of?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's like handing someone a super fast car without teaching them, the rules of the road.
Right.
We need to make sure we're using these tools in a way that benefits everyone, not just a select few.
So what are some specific things we need to be cautious about?
Well, one of the biggest concerns is the potential for bias.
Okay.
Remember, AI models are trained on data.
Right.
And if that data is skewed in any way, the model will reflect those biases. For example, if you're using an AI to help with hiring decisions,
Yeah.
and the data it's trained on comes from a company with a history of, gender discrimination.
Right.
Guess what? The AI might inadvertently perpetuate that discrimination.
Wow, that's a scary thought.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the data that feeds it.
Exactly. That's why it's crucial to be very deliberate about the data we use to train these models.
Yeah.
We need to make sure it's diverse, representative, and free from harmful biases. Otherwise, we're just automating inequality.
Okay, so data quality is key.
Yes.
What else should we be thinking about?
Another important consideration is transparency.
Okay.
As AI models become more complex, it can be difficult to understand how they're arriving at their conclusions.
Yeah.
This lack of transparency can be problematic, especially in areas like healthcare or finance,
Right.
where decisions based on AI can have a significant impact on people's lives.
So it's not enough for the AI to be accurate.
Right.
We also need to be able to understand how it works.
We need to be able to audit these models, trace their decision-making process,
Yeah.
and ensure they're operating fairly and ethically. This is where concepts like explainable AI come in,
Okay.
developing methods that allow us to peek inside the black box
Right.
and understand how the AI is reasoning.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about building trust and accountability.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about the human element.
Okay.
As powerful as AI is,
Yeah.
it's not a replacement for human judgment and intuition.
Right.
We need to make sure we're using AI to augment our abilities,
Right.
not replace them entirely.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
We can't just blindly follow the AI's recommendations.
Right.
We need to use our critical thinking skills to evaluate those recommendations
Yes.
and make sure they align with our values and goals.
Couldn't agree more. It's about finding that synergy
Yeah.
between human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
So it sounds like navigating the world of AI responsibly requires a multifaceted approach.
It does.
We need to be mindful of the data we're using, demand transparency from these models,
Yeah.
and never lose sight of the importance of human oversight.
Well said.
Yeah.
It's not just about the code.
Right.
It's about the context, the consequences, and the constant need to question and refine how we're using these tools.
Okay, all this talk about responsible AI is important.
Yeah.
But I want to loop back to something that really caught my attention earlier. You mentioned the possibility of Gemini generating entire machine learning models based on a user's description.
Right.
Can you unpack that a little more?
Yeah.
How'd that even work?
Imagine this. You're a researcher studying the impact of climate change on bird migration patterns.
Okay.
You have a ton of data, but you're not a machine learning expert.
Yeah.
With this new technology, you could simply tell Gemini,
Yeah.
hey, I need a model that can predict how rising temperatures will affect bird migration
The
routes.
Gemini would just build it.
That's the idea.
Wow.
It would analyze your data,
Okay.
identify the relevant features, and then construct a machine learning model specifically designed to answer your research question.
Right.
It's like having a custom-built AI assistant that understands your specific needs.
Wow, that would be a game changer for so many fields.
It would.
Researchers could focus on their areas of expertise
Right.
without having to become machine learning gurus.
Yeah.
Small businesses could leverage AI without needing to hire a whole data science team.
Exactly. Could really democratize access to AI,
Yeah.
making it a tool that anyone can use to solve problems and gain insights.
But wouldn't that also come with some risks?
Uh-huh.
Like, what if someone with bad intentions got their hands on this technology?
You're right. That's definitely something we need to think about.
Yeah.
As with any powerful technology,
Right.
there's always the potential for misuse.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to have these conversations about responsible AI development and deployment.
It sounds like we're talking about a future where AI is incredibly powerful,
Yeah.
but also potentially dangerous.
Right.
It's like we're standing on the edge of a new frontier, and we need to be very careful about the choices we make.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
This technology has the potential to reshape our world in profound ways,
Right.
both for good and for bad.
Yeah.
It's up to us to make sure it's used for the benefit of humanity.
Okay, so we've talked about the amazing potential of Gemini and Colab,
Yeah.
the need for responsible AI development.
And the mind-blowing possibility of AI generating entire machine learning models.
Right.
That's a lot to process.
It is, but it's all connected.
Right.
We're at a pivotal moment in history where we're developing tools that can amplify our intelligence
Yeah.
and help us solve some of the world's most pressing problems.
Ah.
But we need to approach this with both excitement and caution,
Right.
ensuring we're using these tools wisely and ethically.
Now, before we get too carried away with the future,
Okay.
I want to bring us back to the present.
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot about big picture concepts, but I want to make sure our listeners can actually start using these tools.
You're right. Let's get practical.
Yeah.
What are some concrete ways people can start exploring Gemini and Colab?
Well, first off, Google Colab is free and accessible to anyone with a Google account.
Right.
There are tons of tutorials and resources available online to help you get started.
And as for Gemini,
Yeah.
while it's still under development, there are ways to get a sneak peek at its capabilities. Okay.
Google has released some demos and examples that showcase its potential. You can find links to those on our website.
And keep an eye out for updates from Google.
Yes.
They're constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI.
Right.
So I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more about Gemini in the coming months and years.
Definitely. This is just the beginning of a very exciting journey.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've talked about the mind-blowing capabilities of Gemini,
Hey.
the need for responsible AI, and some practical ways you can start exploring these tools for yourself.
It's been a fascinating discussion,
Yeah,
and I hope it's inspired our listeners to think critically about the role of AI in our world.
me too. Now, before we wrap up,
Okay.
I want to revisit a point you made earlier about the importance of human oversight in AI. I think that's something we need to emphasize.
Absolutely. No matter how sophisticated AI becomes,
Yeah.
it's crucial that we maintain human control over these systems. We need to be the ones setting the goals, defining the ethical boundaries, and ultimately making the decisions that impact our lives and our society.
I think it's easy to get caught up in the hype
Yeah.
and think of AI as this magical solution to all our problems.
Right.
But we can't forget that it's a tool.
It is.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
Right. We need to be the ones steering the ship,
Yeah.
not just passengers along for the ride.
So as we move forward into this exciting new world of AI,
Yeah,
let's remember to approach it with both curiosity and caution,
absolutely.
always keeping in mind the importance of human values, ethics, and oversight.
I couldn't have said it better myself. The future is full of possibilities,
Yeah.
but it's up to us to shape it responsibly.
Okay, before we wrap up completely, I just
Yeah.
want to highlight one more thing that really stood out to me during our research.
Yeah.
We've talked about Gemini's ability to understand code and generate visualizations,
Okay.
but what about its ability to understand natural language?
Oh,
That seems like a whole other level of mind-blowing.
you're right. That's one of the most exciting aspects of Gemini.
Yeah.
It's not just limited to the language of code.
Right.
It can actually understand and process human language,
Uh-huh.
which opens up a whole new realm of possibilities.
So could you potentially have a conversation with Gemini about your data?
Yeah,
Like literally ask it questions in plain English and get insightful responses.
that's exactly right.
Wow.
It's like having a data expert at your fingertips who can understand your questions
Uh-huh.
and provide answers in a way that's easy to understand.
Yeah.
No more struggling with complex queries or coding languages.
Yeah.
You could simply ask, what are the key trends in this data set?
Yeah.
Or what are the factors driving customer churn?
Mm-hmm.
And Gemini could provide you with clear, concise answers.
That's incredible.
It is.
It's like having a personal data analyst who speaks your language.
It's a game changer for sure. Yeah. And it's just one example of how Gemini is blurring the lines between human and artificial intelligence,
Right.
making AI more accessible and intuitive than ever before.
Okay. That's it for this episode of The Deep Dive.
Right.
We've explored the incredible potential of Gemini and Colab, discussed the importance of responsible AI development,
Yeah.
and even glimpsed into a future where AI can understand and respond to human language.
It's been a truly fascinating journey,
It has.
and I hope our listeners have learned a lot.
Me too. And as always, we want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
If you could ask Gemini anything, what would it be?
Oh, wow.
What problem would you want it to help you solve?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It really gets to the heart of what this technology is all about,
Right.
empowering individuals to use AI to make a difference in the world.
It's a question worth pondering.
It is.
And as you're pondering it, think about this.
Okay.
What if Gemini could help us unlock the mysteries hidden within massive data sets, like the human genome or climate models?
The possibilities are truly mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to ask Gemini,
Mm-hmm.
hey, what are the genetic markers that contribute to this particular disease?
Right.
Or how will rising sea levels impact coastal populations in the next 50 years?
It would be like having a superpowered research assistant
Yeah.
who could sift through mountains of data and pinpoint the key insights
Right.
that would have taken humans years, maybe even decades to uncover.
And it's not just about scientific discovery.
Right.
Think about the potential for social good.
Yeah.
What if we could use Gemini to analyze data on poverty, inequality, or education
Uh-huh.
and identify the most effective interventions?
It could revolutionize the way we approach these complex social challenges, helping us to create a more just and equitable world.
It's an inspiring vision,
It is.
and it highlights the immense power of these tools.
Right.
But it also underscores the importance of responsible development and deployment.
We need to make sure these technologies are used for good, not for harm.
For sure.
That means thinking carefully about the ethical implications,
Yeah.
addressing potential biases,
Hey.
and ensuring that everyone benefits from these advancements, not just a select few.
We need to be proactive, not reactive.
Right.
We need to anticipate the potential risks and put safeguards in place to mitigate them.
It's a lot to consider,
It is.
but it's a conversation we need to have if we want to shape a future where AI empowers us, not controls us.
And that brings us back to the listener. To you,
Right?
what role do you want to play in this unfolding story of AI?
Yeah.
Are you excited by the possibilities?
Mm-hmm.
Concerned about the risks?
We want to hear from you.
Yes.
Share your thoughts, your questions, your hopes, and your fears.
Right.
Because the future of AI is not something that's happening to us. It's something we're all creating together.
So, as you go about your day, keep this in mind.
Okay.
The power of AI is growing, but the power to shape its future rests in our hands.
And that's a wrap for today's deep dive into the world of Gemini and Google Colab.
All right.
We hope you've enjoyed the journey and are as excited as we are about the possibilities.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
And remember, the future is coded, but it's up to us to write the algorithm. It's a question worth pondering, and as you're pondering it,
Yeah.
think about this. What if Gemini could help us unlock the mysteries
Right.
hidden within these massive data sets?
Yeah.
Like the human genome or climate models.
The possibilities are truly mind-boggling.
Right.
Imagine being able to ask Gemini,
Yeah.
hey, what are the genetic markers that contribute to this particular disease? Or how will rising sea levels impact coastal populations in the next 50 years?
It would be like having a superpowered research assistant who could just sift through mountains of data
Right.
and pinpoint the key insights that would take in humans years, maybe even decades to uncover.
And it's not just about scientific discovery.
Right.
Think about the potential for social good. Yeah. What if we could use Gemini to analyze data on poverty, inequality, or education, and identify the most effective interventions?
It could revolutionize the way we approach these complex social challenges,
Yeah.
helping us create a more just and equitable world.
It's an inspiring vision,
Yeah.
and it highlights the immense power of these tools.
It is.
But it also underscores the importance of responsible development and deployment.
We need to make sure these technologies are used for good, not for harm.
For sure.
That means thinking carefully about the ethical implications, addressing potential biases,
Yeah.
and ensuring that everyone benefits from these advancements, not just a select few.
We need to be proactive, not reactive.
Right.
We need to anticipate the potential risks
Yeah.
and put safeguards in place to mitigate them.
It's a lot to consider, but it's a conversation we need to have.
It
If you want to shape a future where AI empowers us, not controls us.
And that brings us back to the listener.
Right.
To you, what role do you want to play in this unfolding story of AI?
Yeah.
Are you excited by the possibilities? Concerned about the risks?
We want to hear from you. Share your thoughts, your questions, your hopes, and your fears.
Yes.
Because the future of AI is not something that's happening to us.
Right.
It's something we're all creating together.
So as you go about your day, keep this in mind.
Okay.
The power of AI is growing, but the power to shape its future rests in our hands.
And that's a wrap for today's deep dive into the world of Gemini and Google Colab.
All right.
We hope you enjoyed the journey and are as excited as we are about the possibilities.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
And remember, the future is coded, but it's up to us to write the algorithm.